The crowd at the busy city square had barely noticed her at first. She was just another face in the endless stream of people rushing by, bundled in a worn coat, hair tangled from the wind, eyes downcast. But then it happened, something so small, yet so unexpected, that it stopped everyone in their tracks. One simple act of kindness, and suddenly, the world felt like it had paused to breathe. People watched in silence after this one moment, unable to look away. No one knew her story, yet in that instant, her humanity shone brighter than any city billboard, brighter than the flashing neon signs of the stores around her. Something in that fleeting second made everyone remember that kindness still exists even in the coldest corners of the busiest cities. Before we dive into this unforgettable story, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Story Hub, like this video, and leave a comment sharing the last time someone's kindness touched your heart. We'd love to hear your story. It all began on a crisp autumn morning. The kind of morning when the sunlight falls softly on the streets, turning every leaf into a golden ember. The city was waking up, cars honking, coffee shops opening, and the usual hum of people rushing through their routines. Among them was Sarah, a single mother who had been juggling 2 jobs while trying to make ends meet. Today, she was late for her shift at the diner and had no time for the small breakfast she usually skipped. Her son, little Tommy, was clinging to her hand, asking endless questions about school, but she barely had the energy to answer. Sarah's life had been a series of challenges stacked on top of one another. Bills piled up on her kitchen counter, and rent was overdue. Tommy had recently been diagnosed with a learning disability, and she struggled to find support while keeping her jobs. On this particular morning, the weight of it all seemed heavier than usual. As they walked down the street, her hands trembled, and she barely noticed the people brushing past her. Just a few steps ahead, a man named David was sitting on the cold concrete of the square, his guitar resting beside him. He was a street musician, a dreamer who had once performed on Broadway but had lost his way after a personal tragedy. Most people walked past him without a second glance, lost in their own busy lives. But today, something in Sarah's weary eyes caught his attention. He didn't know why, but he felt a tug in his heart, a call to do something. Sarah and Tommy stopped near the fountain, the boy tugging at her sleeve, asking for a coin for the carousel. Sarah reached into her pocket and realized she had barely enough change to buy a cup of coffee. The corners of her mouth pressed together as she tried to keep a smile for Tommy. That's when David stepped forward. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said softly, his voice gentle yet steady. "Is this for him?" He held out a small paper bag, slightly crumpled, with a sandwich inside. "I noticed you didn't have breakfast. I thought, maybe this would help." Sarah froze. For a moment, she couldn't speak. Her eyes filled with tears, not just for the food, but for the humanity behind the gesture. A stranger had noticed her struggle and had cared enough to act. She wanted to say thank you, but the words felt too small for what she was feeling. Tommy's eyes widened as he looked at the sandwich. "Mom, look." "He gave it to us," he whispered, his voice trembling with excitement. The people around them had begun to slow down. Some were staring, curious. Others were wiping away tears as they realized they were witnessing something profoundly human, a moment of pure kindness in a world that often feels cold and indifferent. Sarah finally found her voice, her lips quivering. "Thank you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't know how to repay you." David smiled, a small, sad smile that carried a lifetime of stories. "You don't have to. Just pass it on someday. That's enough." And just like that, the ordinary city square transformed into a place of quiet awe. People stopped scrolling on their phones, paused in their hurried steps, and simply watched. A mother, a child, and a stranger, a brief encounter, yet it spoke volumes about the power of kindness. Sarah and Tommy sat on the edge of the fountain, sharing the sandwich. Tommy chattered happily,
and Sarah felt a warmth she hadn't known in months.
In that simple act, she found hope not just for that day, but for the days ahead. It reminded her that even when life feels overwhelming, small gestures can ripple out and touch more lives than anyone can imagine. David returned to his guitar, strumming a soft melody that seemed to float over the square. Passers-by dropped coins into his open case, moved not just by his music, but by the story unfolding before their eyes. One woman, clutching her shopping bags, paused to smile, feeling lighter as she watched. An elderly man slowed his pace, reflecting on the moments of kindness in his own life. In that one instant, a single act created a chain reaction that spread far beyond what anyone could see. Sarah knew she couldn't stay in the square forever. Work called, bills demanded attention, and life's responsibilities were waiting. But something in her heart had shifted. She whispered to Tommy, "Let's remember this, okay? One act of kindness can change everything." Tommy nodded, his small hand gripping hers tightly, a silent promise made between mother and son. Over the next few weeks, Sarah found herself looking for ways to return the favor. She donated old clothes to shelters, offered a smile to strangers, and even helped a neighbor carry groceries. Each act felt small, yet somehow meaningful, each one a tribute to the stranger who had given her a sandwich when she needed it most. David, meanwhile, continued to play in the square, unaware of the lives he had touched beyond that morning. But every so often, someone would come up to him and share their story, a story that started with a small moment of kindness he had offered without expectation. And in those stories, he discovered something he had almost forgotten: hope, connection, and the undeniable truth that kindness is never wasted. Months later, the city square felt a little different. People paused a little longer to help one another. Strangers smiled more often. And in the heart of it all, Sarah and Tommy became quiet heroes of their own story, proving that even in the busiest, coldest places, warmth could be found. The beauty of this story isn't just in the sandwich, or even in the act itself, it's in the ripple effect it created. One person noticing another, one gesture of kindness, one pause in a hectic world can change lives in ways we may never fully see. And sometimes, all it takes is one moment for people to watch in silence and realize the world can be better, kinder, and more connected than we often allow ourselves to believe. As you go about your day, remember that the smallest act can create the biggest impact. A smile, a helping hand, a kind word, these are the moments that linger, the moments that people will remember long after the noise of life fades away. So, next time you see someone struggling, take a second. Do something, anything, that shows you care. You might not even notice the impact immediately, but somewhere, someone is watching, and sometimes, that one act is enough to make the world pause in awe, just like it did that crisp autumn morning in the city square. Because in the end, kindness isn't just about giving, it's about connecting. It's about reminding each other that we are not alone, that we matter, and that even in a busy world, love and compassion can shine through the smallest gestures. People watched in silence after that one moment, but the real magic was in what came after: the hope it inspired, the chains of kindness it sparked, and the reminder that every day, we have the chance to make a difference in someone's life, sometimes without even realizing it. So go ahead. Be the kindness someone didn't know they were waiting for. Be the reason a mother can feed her child. Be the reason a stranger feels seen. Because your small act can echo in ways far beyond what you can imagine, and that, more than anything, is the true power of kindness.